So joining us right now, once again, from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is our friend Gerry Dulac back on the program. How are you, Gerry?
Rich, I am fine. As you can imagine, it's been a busy and hectic, last 8 days since Russell Wilson agreed to come here.
That's correct. I have lots of questions for you, Gerry, and I'm sure you were looking for my call.
I thought you might.
I do. What changed between our last conversations?
Well, the fact that Russell Wilson got involved with coming to the Steelers, is what started to change. And when that happened, now, that was going to push Mason Rudolph out, in which they were talking to Mason Rudolph about, re-signing him. Sunday night, they thought that any deal with Russell Wilson was done, was over. And then things changed in the next couple hours, and that's why at 11:45 p.m. Sunday night that they agreed to the deal with Russell Wilson. So they didn't think it was going to happen. Rich, I can't sit here and tell you what happened or who made it happen, but someone or something happened, and he decided to sign with the Steelers. That pushes out Mason Rudolph from re-signing. He no longer wants to re-sign here, which I get. And then, of course, Kenny Pickett is just upset and unhappy. And, I'm not going to sit here and say through a little hissy fit, but just told them that, that this isn't what he thought it was going to be. He was upset, started acting, in their opinion, not the way they would have expected. And that's what they thought. We've heard Mike Tomlin say before, Rich, as you well know, he wants volunteers, not hostages. And if, Kenny Pickett was going to behave that way and felt that he didn't want to stand up and fight, then they were going to get rid of him. And they did. And shortly after they made the trade, they went back in touch with the Bears and made the deal for Justin Fields. 3 weeks ago, nobody would have thought this quarterback room of Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, and Kenny Pickett would all be gone, and the new quarterback room would be Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. But here it is.
And all it would cost them would be, just for this year in salary alone, about $4 million in change, and a draft choice in next year's draft that could be as low as a 6 and as high as a 4. But lots of questions just to follow up there. Again, the Sunday that you're referring to is the Sunday before the new league year opened up, not this past Sunday, when Russell Wilson, I guess, came to Pittsburgh from a commercial flight from Newark Airport after chatting with the Giants. And you thought that whatever the conversations were between the Steelers and Russell, the Steelers thought for a brief bit when Sunday night was hitting and getting to that new league year negotiating window opening up, and that would obviously throw things in a different direction. They were thinking Russ wasn't coming, but what is your reporting on how Russ did arrive, not just on the radar screen of the Steelers, but as a Pittsburgh Steeler, and what assurances was he told by the Steelers?
Rich, he had a 90-minute Zoom call. He was in Pittsburgh on that Friday. Mm-hmm. And they did a Zoom call with the team president, Art Rooney II, who was in Florida. And so that meeting was supposed to last 20 minutes, and Russell Wilson said it lasted 90, and that he just knew he kind of hit it off with them. All that being said, again, 2 days later, they weren't sure the deal was going to happen. And I don't know. What I've been told is that I can't tell you what exactly they said to Russell Wilson, but I think from what I understand from their end, the only understanding was that maybe Russell Wilson would take the first snap of training camp as the 9 times Pro Bowl, Super Bowl winning quarterback, 36-year-old veteran, and but from that point on, that the snaps would be split, and there would be a competition with Kenny Pickett. But it was Monday morning when that all changed in Kenny Pickett's mind. And, he basically did it to himself, Rich, by things he said and his attitude. And they weren't going, I don't want to say they were accommodating him. They just thought at this point they weren't going to put up with it. And some of that goes back to last year, Rich, with the way he handled being benched. Well, not being benched, with not getting his starting job back after Mason Rudolph came in and all of a sudden made the offense look like an NFL offense, something it wasn't doing when Kenny Pickett was healthy. I know he was 7-4 as a starter. He did a nice job. but he threw 6 touchdown passes and averaged 16.5 points in those 11 games. And after that Cleveland debacle, 13-10 in Cleveland, they were going to bench Kenny Pickett. But that's what led to the firing of Matt Canada. So it wasn't exactly like they were enamored with his play to that point, but they were willing to go into year 3 with him. But again, that's all a moot point now because Russell Wilson came in, and that was the end of Kenny Pickett.
Gerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette here on the Rich Eisen Show. I'll be straight up with you. It makes sense that, hey, Russ, you get snap 1, but after that, we got an open competition. Is that the way it's going to go with Justin Fields? Because it sure seems like, why? Why?
Yeah, I think probably, I'm going to guess this, I don't know, but I would imagine it's somewhat in deference to Russ Wilson deciding to come here. But apparently, Justin Fields has been told there's no open competition. You will be the backup to Russell Wilson. So, and again, maybe after all they've gone through with Russell Wilson coming here, they wanted to make sure that this arrangement was spoken. And apparently that has been the case.
But normally that's given to somebody that's been in your organization for 7 years, not 7 days, regardless of how respected he is and that wonderful patch that he and now Cam Hayward are going to, wear on their jerseys. It's so rare to see a team have a Walter Payton Man of the Year on offense and defense. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. And so, that said, but I'm a little bit gobsmacked by that because Justin Fields definitely is somebody that has an upside that you need to explore. Certainly, don't you, Gerry?
Rich, when he was coming out in the draft, I was told that no matter who was on the board, if they had a chance to get Justin Fields, they were going to draft Justin Fields. Now, he went 11, and the Steelers had number 24, I believe, which they used for Najee Harris. So that that obviously never materialized. But that's how much they liked him. But, you have to I like Justin Fields' upside. Obviously, how could you not with his athleticism, ability to run, his throwing arm? But he's won 10 games in 3 years with the Bears. And so it's not exactly like Justin Fields is a proven commodity. Do I like the pickup? Absolutely. What is he, 25 years old? I think he has his future ahead of him, obviously. But I think as of right now, maybe those 7 days that Russell Wilson has been here trumps the 2 days that Justin Fields has been here. Maybe that's why they granted him the starting position. But I do think a lot of that is in deference to everything that was involved in getting Russell Wilson here. Now, obviously, if the Steelers struggle and play poorly with Russ, then, there would be no reason not to try the other guy. But apparently it's not 1 and 1A right now, as far as I have been told.
And then not only that, too, Gerry, the gobsmacking continued when I saw your tweet reminding everybody, how inexpensive Russ is on the Steelers ledger because $39 million of his salary is being paid by Denver. And then you finished up your tweet by mentioning how the intention is to sign Russ long term at the end of the year. And it's just like I know it comes across as I don't really mean to sound disrespectful, but Russell Wilson's last 3 years just doesn't behoove a team to do this within a week of having him come to the squad. What do you mean by a longer deal at the end of the year being discussed as an intention at this point?
Rich, I put that last sentence in there for your benefit because I was worried you would tell me I buried the lead again. I didn't want my journalism professors coming back at me for everything you said. But no, the original, they made the 1 year almost like a prove it deal, but they were able to do a 1 year deal because of the money he's being paid,
of course,
by the Broncos. But it is Russ's intention, what I've been told, and the Steelers' intention, and two different people have told me this, who would know, that they want to do a longer deal. Now, I don't know what longer means, but their intention is to do a deal beyond this year. Justin Fields, of course, now he's in his final year of his rookie contract. The Steelers are not going to pick up his option. They're not expected to pick up his option.
They're not.
They're not going to pick up his option, but I don't think there's anything, I'm assuming, to preclude them from redoing his contract and maybe making it a 2-year deal, 3-year deal. I don't know all the ins and outs and ramifications of that, but there's nothing to stop them from doing that. So I think we'll see how this thing proceeds. But right now, that is their intention with Russell Wilson. But again, maybe, on a show me contract, maybe I don't like what they're going to be being shown in 2024 and they change their mind. But that is their intention.
Huh.
And that is his intention as well, I've been told.
Okay. And Arthur Smith is fired up about this, and Tomlin's fired up. Like, what are you hearing internally about this, Gerry?
I would say Mike Tomlin, as you well know, Rich, is jacked about this one. And of course, I've heard, and I haven't dealt with Russell only for one day, the stories about Denver and the locker room and how he gets along. If you can't get along with Mike Tomlin, 99.9% of the players who either play for him or dealt with him want to play for the guy, or they love him for playing for him. And so I can't imagine Russell Wilson having some type of whatever they claim that happened in the other room, in the other locker rooms, a negative impact. Maybe disruptive is a little too strong. I can't imagine that happening with Mike Tomlin, but I will tell you, with the way he was beaming, standing there alongside Russ Wilson the other day during the press conference, I think he's totally happy with the moves they made. And let's not forget the pickup of Patrick Queen, which to me is the biggest acquisition of all.
I agree, Gerry. That one was that. You want to talk about on brand? Now that's on brand for the Steelers, where you're going to take somebody like Patrick Queen who can go sideline to sideline and then downhill and thump and be right in the middle of that Steelers defense, and you take him from Baltimore on top of it. Now that is what I'm used to seeing from Pittsburgh. I'm with you on that one for sure. And the remaking of the quarterback room is an absolute coup, certainly since you're not committed. You even just said, that the Steelers aren't going to pick up Justin Fields' fifth-year option. Now, they do have the option of saying, we'll sign you to a longer-term deal for less money annually. So it makes complete sense to do all that. But again, I'm kind of stunned that based on Russell Wilson's last couple of years, that the Steelers are ready to just say, the gig's yours. There's no competition, and we're bringing in Justin Fields. There's no competition. This is it. So let's ride, Steelers Nation. It's kind of surprising, Rich, Gerry. I'm not going to lie.
Rich, I get your point. Russ Wilson threw 26 touchdowns last year. That's twice as many as Kenny Pickett threw in 2 years. I will say this for the Steelers. And after Art Rooney came out, the team president, after the season, and basically said his patience is running thin and, quote, it's time to win some playoff games, they are not standing pat. And that was a directive pretty much to Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin to don't be satisfied with 10-7. We need to do something. And they are doing something. And I don't think they're done. So I give them credit. 10-7 isn't good enough. The last couple years, we hear all about the 17 consecutive non-losing seasons. But 7 years without a playoff win for a team that the franchise that has 6 Super Bowl trophies, and the 10-7 isn't good enough. You know what? Good for them. And I think everybody here is glad to see, when I say here, I'm talking about the fan base, of course, and probably nationally, that they're thrilled and excited to see these moves being made, despite being a playoff team, albeit a playoff team that lost another playoff game for the 5th consecutive time.
So when you say they're not done, you mean bringing in a receiver named Mike Williams,
right,
who they'll pay, who they'll pay more than what the other Mike Williams wanted, Gerry? Is that what you're saying?
Or bigger is all I will tell you, Rich, and we shall see. But that is another step that they are going to make. And like I said, it might not even be Mike Williams. It might be a bigger catch, if you will, no pun intended, than that. But if they traded Deontay Johnson, once again, they don't want hostages, they want volunteers. And he was a disruptive influence, and they weren't going to tolerate it. And so, again, good for them. We'll see how it plays out, but good for them.
Or bigger. Huh. I don't even know who that could be. Gerry, you're just dropping nuggets, man. You're dropping breadcrumbs here.
I have to with you because you peruse everything I say, so I'm glad I can at least give you a little heads up if possible.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm not telling you it's going to happen. I'm just telling you don't be surprised, as I told people with Justin Fields as
well. So while the Steelers are doing very un-Steeler-like things right now, like this is as off the rails as the Steelers get, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Any chance they say sure to Hard Knocks? Because I would love to see the way this plays out. I'd love to see it all on camera. I want to see Russ and Ciara going to Primanti Brothers. I want to see, I want to see it all. Any shot Tomlin says okay to NFL Films coming in and letting us in? What do you think?
That would be the shocker of all shocks. If Mike Tomlin agreed to that, as you probably know, is not in his DNA. And so if that happens, then I would be really surprised.
I mean, that would be, honestly, this is the story. This is the story of the NFL going into next season, without a doubt, because of the way the last few seasons have been, because Tomlin is Tomlin, the Steelers are the Steelers, Russ is Russ, Fields is Fields, and it's a shakeup. It's a total shakeup. With some of the same names, on defense, right? If
nothing else, Rich, it's generated a ton of excitement here. Okay. And when you look at this team, Patrick Queen, they signed him to a big deal, the largest they've ever given a free agent. Their defense was already, if not the highest paid defense in the league, it was among the highest. Putting Patrick Queen in there, I'm sure, keeps them right at the top. Conversely, their offense has to be the cheapest offense in the National Football League in terms of payroll. Both quarterbacks don't cost them any amount of money. Their running backs are on rookie contracts. Their wide receivers are on rookie contracts. Their tight end is on rookie contracts. Their right tackle and their left tackle are on rookie contracts. The only guy who counts any amount of money are the two guards, Ciamalo and James Daniel, and they don't break the bank. So it is the lowest paid offense in the league. So there's plenty of room to add to that offense.
That's right, and with the 20th overall pick coming up as well.
Right.
Gerry, where are you on Suits? Have we completed?
You know what? I finished. I binged it so much I finished, and so now I'm having Suits and Peaky Blinders withdrawal, and I'm trying to find something else, and I can't so far.
I don't know. Maybe. So what was more unlikely then? The quarterback room of the Steelers being remade in the way this is, or that Meghan Markle may last longest in the actual Buckingham Palace right now, Gerry?
Well,
what do you think?
The way things are looking, you might be right, and that would be the shocker of shockers. So I'm going to lean toward the Meghan Markle thing.
There you go. Gerry, thanks again. By the way, I love that we car on you as confirmed Suits guy. So everybody can tweet it at Gerry Dulac to give him some more suggestions on what to watch. And look for more of my calls and Zooms, Gerry. You're in the middle of this thing, man. This is fun.
Rich, anytime, brother. Glad to be on with you.
Appreciate it. That's Gerry Dulac of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. He knows what is going on there in Pittsburgh, PA. What the hell is going on? Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.